Okay, welcome everyone to the Cosmic Starseed Academy. These are the Saturday Pleiades weekly, these are the Saturday weekly gatherings and Pleiadian channelings. Today's date is the 27th of December 2025 and it's 8:50 p.m. here in Ireland. I want to wish everyone a really happy Christmas, and we're almost into the new year. Um, so I hope everyone had a really lovely Christmas. Mine has been very good so far, and um, I'm very much looking forward to the new year and all that that brings. Um, and I feel that 2026 is going to be a breeze in comparison to 2025. It feels, when I look at it, I I when I look at 2026, and not just for me, but for other people, I just see this energy of it's like a clear, kind of cloudy mist of energy that's very clear. Not cloudy in that sense, but there's like a white energy on a path of 2026 that's very clear and a lot of clarity and a lot of new energies coming in, a lot of light, a lot of love, um, a lot of clarity, and also new discoveries. And I do feel them coming in now, which is great. A couple of announcements I need to make um, with the Cosmic Starseed Academy. Emily, you didn't miss anything. I just saw your message. Yay! um, so um, so the Cosmic Starseed Academy, I'm really wanting to build that. And that is all about community, gathering star seeds, connections, building um, relationships, community, a strong core group of star seeds. Very much a community, community, community. And I really feel drawn and pushed and compelled to do that. And I know that the Pleiadians are very much behind that and wanting to create more unity within the Starseed community, and not just the Starseed community. I was talking to someone in the community in the disclosure movement yesterday, um, and they are having. I won't name who it is, but he's quite well known, and um, it seems that the disclosure movement is going to be having more problems with people that are infighting and really gunning for each other. I don't know if um, my English words or terms come across to you guys on the other side of the pond, but there's a lot of people, and it's more at each other, but it's more than just arguing. It's legal stuff. Um, and as I'm watching what's unfolding, it's very clear to me that the disclosure movement is and the spiritual field are both very targeted by organizations. I'm trying not to say words, but yeah. So okay, so the Cosmic Starseed Academy, I have a lot going on with that, but there are three main groups. There is the Saturday group, the Sunday group, which are both at 7 p.m. Irish time. Those are still free and hopefully will stay free. I also have a new group on a Wednesday starting on the 7th of January, um, where I won't be doing channeling. Hopefully, they won't lead me into channeling, It's just about teaching what they have previously channeled, which is a whole load of information on different subjects. They're always very keen to talk about Atlantis. So the 7th of January will most likely be regarding Atlantis. And that they actually, since a child, they've been giving me a lot of information on that, which is very connected to our timeline now. So I do have a lot of stuff going on with the Cosmic Starseed Academy, which I'm looking to grow and expand, and I want to do as much as possible for free. But the Wednesday group is for paid subscribers on Substack, which is €7 a month. So it's, affordable for most people. And that's starting on the 7th of January. I am going to have to jiggle things around a little bit. So I may stop doing some things and focus on more on the teaching, which I really miss, by the way. I really miss the teaching, especially in person. So I might look at doing, and I know I mentioned this before, I might look at doing some physical teaching and then record or do it as a live stream it. So blend the two, either on a Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday or maybe even another day, but blend the two. So it's a live stream, so people can live streaming. And so if you want to join the new Wednesday group, please do subscribe to my Substack. The paid monthly version is €7, which is affordable for most people. And each week we'll be covering different subjects. What else do I need to say? I'm having huge trouble with Facebook and YouTube at the moment. So I'm coming away from those. I'm really fed up with Facebook at the moment. And I have been for a long time. But sometimes it gets to me more than others, where it's just impossible. Everything is kind of restricted. And so let me see. Do you guys have any questions before we step into it? Emily? No? Okay. Christy, will you give me a thumbs up if you are there? Okay. So, hi, Christy. You're on mute, but it's good to see you.
Sorry.
So,
hello, folks. How are you?
hello, Mr. Clark.
Hi, Christy.
No.
Hello.
I might nickname you Kent.
Kent Clark.
Clark Kent, right?
Clark
Yeah.
Kent, yeah.
Okay, let's start with meditation. So when you're ready, please close your eyes, feet flat on the floor, sit comfortably, hands comfortably in your lap. Oh, okay. Visualize a spiral of energy. Some of you will have been shown this before or been working with it before, and we're referring actually to Melissa, and it is interesting how we just stepped in so naturally there. We are the Pleiadians. We are you in the future. We are divine beings of light, divine light beings that are you in the future. We have made mistakes, no doubt. are going to say something that we haven't really shared in this way before. But all beings have made mistakes, both individually and collectively. And we are, of course, referring to contracts and the such like. We are all around you, meaning that when you look up, wherever you are, whatever country you're in, we are within your line of vision, although you may not always see us. There are very few actually that do look up and look at the night sky. But we surround you. We are all around you, not just us, but there are, and Christy will know this very well, there are also others of our brothers and sisters, other beings that are when we speak of them through Soma or to Soma, we always regard them or call them as our brothers and sisters. And we would look at you as our children and our distant cousins and many others. The universe is teeming with life in every direction, every direction. Some of you are very aware of us and others. Some of you here are even channelers, such as Ranchuras or Christy. You are warriors of light, warriors of love. We will pause there. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I have a question for Melissa, and hopefully I will do some more channeling in a little bit. But I have a question for Melissa. Some time ago, she was explaining that there's so often I step into either the warrior spirit that is very strong, very dominant, a lot of strength, a lot of backbone, a lot of I do not consent, which I really had a lot of as a child. I really had that very strongly. I was very stubborn, very adamant, knew myself very well, and would not allow. And this is when I was much younger, before a lot of the abuse, really. And that did have an effect on me, I have to say. But I've always had that, carried that. And sometimes it's been less and sometimes it's been more. But and probably that's why I was so, an aspect of why I was so, I had so much abuse as a child, because it's like the adults were trying to chip away at that inner core strength, which is I do see clearly that is also to do with the negative agenda and the powers that be and the organizations, because I had a lot of experiences to do with those people when I was a young child as well. But anyway, so I've got this real strong energy of like very forceful, backbone, determined, warrior energy, and then I'm either in that energy or I'm in the energy of love, frequency, and peace, and just a much more tranquil energy of just letting everything be. And I seem to step in from one to the other. So Melissa was one day explaining, a couple of months ago now, I think already, explaining that this is to do with astrology, I think. So Melissa, please, will you explain that?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that. Because I think when we do come down to this experience that we're having, our soul carries unresolved issues. And with those unresolved issues, it kind of creates our soul signature of what we are branded in our soul. But our soul picks these avatars or these vessels to have this experience. So, the thing is that we are uniquely different, all of us. And I do study Kabbalah and ancient Hebrew. So with Hebrew, I can go into each vibration from Aleph to Tau, which is from beginning to completion. And in between, there's 22 letters. And each of us carry 7 dominant aspects of that Hebrew language. So for instance, with my name, my birth name, I carry 3 physical aspects, 3 spiritual aspects, and then my driven purpose, ultimately for me to fulfill that. But for me to even obtain my purpose, I have to work through those aspects, which all carry a negative and positive impact, which a lot of it comes through our shadow selves, right? The things that we tend to want to hide. And with those energies, they are on a spectrum. So for instance, I haven't looked at your name, Soma, but from what you're saying and what I'm gathering is that we do ask ourselves questions that tend to come in like, why was I treated unfairly as a child? Why was I suppressed from speaking my truth? Why was I, not able to express myself without my parents telling me to hush? Our soul comes into these avatars and we go through 7-year cycles. So from birth to 7 to 14, and there's 5 stages of the soul. So with those 5 stages, the first stage is instinctual. Pretty much any animal has that stage 1 of the soul. They do have a soul. It's not as developed as fully as we are and having this experience that we are in this darkness. But what happens is that when we hit from 7 to 14, we typically graduate into that second and that third stage of the soul. And when you think of Jewish people going through bar mitzvahs, that is really those individuals, those boys and girls stepping into that level of the soul. And what happens for us, for you having that warrior energy and that it fluctuates from love, these are the aspects that are all playing at once. So the one with the warrior energy is Tess, which is this is the most powerful energy in the Hebrew language. So when you understand these ancient languages, Sanskrit, Pali, Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, they're all breath of God. The first thing of the Big Bang was sound, which is what we make through our mouths. So when we pronounce anything that comes out of our mouth, it carries a vibration, it carries a frequency, it can carry a high or low. It makes a mark in our situation with speaking to myself or even to speaking outward. So with you having maybe this 9 energy in your chart, it's a very powerful energy. It's one of the most powerful ones in there. It's literally like if you think of Harry Potter or Game of Thrones is a good example, how those dragons can come in and they can be with us on that level of understanding people, but they can also be the people pleasers, or they can be to the point where they're so into their power where they misuse their power. And because we don't know our dominant powers that we carry, now we can grant and say, yeah, I have all 22 energies because we all are this image of God, this energy that we are created to introduce. But when we know our aspects, it gives you more clarity, because what happens is sometimes our soul at this point, when it comes through the 35 to 42 year cycle, so it's like our 6th year, between the 5 and the 6th year, we are starting to really seek. And that's why people have midlife crises. They tend to not want to be in their careers anymore. They're starting to seek past religion. There's more questions. Like, I know there's more to just God, or there's more to Jesus. There's more to why I'm breathing. So it goes into that level of depth that our soul is starting to knock on the wood. And what happens is that the partners that we attract are here to trigger us, to bring out these aspects. But a lot of us don't know it, so we suppress it. And I mean, it can go deeper. This all starts from our first year cycle, from 0 to 6 years old. And when we hit that 7 years is when we are able to really start to say, like for instance, if I'm playing with my food at the table and my mother says, "Why do you always have to be such a monster at the table?" That so resonates with us that now I feel like there's something wrong with me, right? So this just starts to plant that seed, and it grows into these triggers that ultimately are triggering these aspects so we can actually trigger into our purpose. So it's this really crucial part of us that none of us ever knew what it is. So for me, my background, I'm very into numerology. COVID was a big awakening for me, is when I was really like hiding my shadow, but because we were under one roof, my husband and I are almost identical. And we were able to just really like trigger each of us, and our children are starting to get affected by this and speaking out themselves. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Why can't you guys ever have peace? Why can't you ever have quiet? So I tend to dive a little deeper. And then when I start getting into the numerology and the Hebrew part of it, I did my own chart, and I was like, wow, like I knew I came in very disempowered by the masculine, and I became that masculinity in my relationship with my husband. Because I was suppressing it, it was coming out to me like a monster. And when I realized that, and this also has a lot of more, there's like a lot more characteristics to it. This is just one. And then on the side of love, which is another vibration you can carry, the divine mother, the wisdom of water, what really draws us. And when people have that energy, it's really the mem, and it's really the Dalit. It's opening that door. If you're familiar with the tree of life, it's really all those aspects of that. So, when you go back to, the understanding of Kabbalah, Adam and Eve, they chose to go off the tree of knowledge, not the tree of life, right? And that's when we became into humanity and how all of this kind of came about. So when you know your portal of what your birth name came in to do, it's like your GPS turning on. It's like I'm driving from point A to point E now with my headlights on. I got my GPS and I can actually drive. So for me, my aspects, I knew that trust was a big issue. I couldn't speak my truth. I was very disempowered by the masculine. I always I didn't know what boundaries were. I always lived in the unconscious dysfunction of my parents, and I really needed to build my own truth. So when I really looked at all the aspects.
Hold on, Melissa. Mm-hmm. Hold on. When you said that you were something by your parents, your voice kind of
like
I could feel your voice. I could feel your throat, and I could hear it and feel it. And so there's some energy that is there with it. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, no, glad you caught that, because that was so with these aspects, you're giving 2 challenges, which is the karma that could be from past life unsolving, the triggers that are in our current environment, what we attract and what we're projecting out. And then we're given goals, what gets us out of bed. And then we have our gifts that actually help transmute all these aspects. And one of my talents is speaking my truth. And I didn't know I had such a blocked throat chakra all this time from going back to 2020. I never could speak my truth. I always felt like I was going to hurt someone's feelings. I was always protecting my identity. I was always protecting, what I might say, like ripple effect to hurt someone else. And I really had to look at that. And when I was given that map, I was like, wow, these are all the things that now I can say something may not be in my chart. But this is the tricky thing is that we are given this birth name to come into this portal, into this darkness of this 3D dense earth. And my biggest question I'm always asked is well, what if I change my name? I get married. Yes, you are going to now layer that layer of that cake, right? And add more vibration into your name. So my maiden name now has my Mary name on top of it. Now, if I have two similar numbers in my physical, that is just going to bring more of a depth to what I really have to work on, because we do attract our partners that are here to help us grow, like trigger us, right? We feel like what is really love, and really love is bringing us back to that place of what the tree of life is, and it's gradually bringing us back up to that bina, that knowing what God is, that wisdom, that knowledge, what true love is, that enlightenment, that joy, the stuff that we're always chasing. And a lot of us don't even know what it really is because we've never really experienced it. We've experienced it more like the golden calf in short little increments, like, oh, that feels good. And then a lot of us sabotage it because we feel not worthy of having that goodness in our life. So when you have the chart, like you said, why am I, fluctuating back and forth? You may have that challenge of coming in with that test, that power energy of that snake, that dragon, that really is like very powerful. That these are people that can come up and really perform. They are here to empower others when they empower themselves. And the tricky thing is that, people are like, well, how is this tied in with unresolved issues then from my past? Well, a lot of times we come in as the perpetrator in our previous lifetime, and now we're back here to correct it. So a lot of us that have the 9 energy, I have it actually in my soul destiny. I was always afraid when I look at the whole package, I always felt like I could hurt someone. I knew it on the cuff of my sleeve. If I stepped over there, that I could really hurt someone's feelings. But I'm just a human. Like, can't we all do that? Well, when I talk to people that don't have 9s in their chart, they can't even really resonate with that energy because they've never experienced it in the way of. And the thing is that when you carry the 9 energy, a lot of people have a hard time walking up to you unless you have an 8 energy, which is called chess. It's all that. It's boundaries, it's society, it's emotions. So when you have these energies that are working together, people will come up to you that feel that love from you, and they want to connect with you, and they want to tell you everything. But a lot of times they come across because they see that dragon coming up. So when you have your reading of your name, it gives you that aspect to know like what you should have gratitude for, what I know I'm going to trigger, what I need to pause on. So you can gradually work through that, like rewiring and building that muscle, like no different at the gym, right? Like I want to build my biceps, but I know I have to go 3 days a week to lift these weights to build that muscle. I'm just not going to walk into the gym and be like, oh, okay, now I got my biceps, I can leave. When we know this spiritual, yeah, right. I wish it was that easy. No. But like I said, I've been doing this for about 2.5 years now. And every morning, every time I go to bed, I always wake up with gratitude, and I always go to bed, always sending out forgiveness. If I did step on someone's toes or may not responded in a way of being reactive versus proactive, and I clear my cache. And I know that when I come in the morning, I know that I have to trust, and it's not just even sharing, it's the receiving of it too, right? So it's like when you understand this whole signature of what your soul is seeking, it's so like you're like actually able to just float down the river on a tube and not worry about the rapids or hitting the rocks. And, it just gives you that, it just makes your body just like come into a place of relaxing and saying, I know we're human, right? And anything that's been, like I said, I had the unconscious dysfunctioning of my parents because they had their own resolving of their issues, right? We were never like told like in the hospital, okay, baby, just so you know, I have lots of issues and it's not going to be a perfect ride. I'm going to try to love you as much as I can. But a lot of them are like hiding it and suppressing it. And they're just going to say, I'm going to raise the perfect child. Right.
And even hiding it from themselves.
Yes.
Like not facing their stuff. When I look back, I've been looking at, even unconsciously, I wasn't aware of it until you just said, but the last couple of days, I've been looking at my mum's stuff, and I very much, she wasn't able to look at her own stuff, and it's probably coming up because she passed away on Boxing Day or St. Stephen's Day.
Sorry.
So anyway, sorry, go on.
The big thing, like I said, out of all of this, it's not like a psychic reading, it's coming through that Kabbalah part of the mysticism of really understanding what the sages and the Zohar was saying. It's like, we are here to work through, and it's such a simple formula. Understand what your correction is, right? When we know what we are here to correct, what our deep roots are that keep triggering us, so we hurt others to protect ourselves, or, you know, a lot of us don't even know we're hurting, so we're hurting others, not even having a grasp of it. But when we can really understand what our correction is, even if we know those little things here and there, we can step into being that projection of love and enlightenment and compassion and humility on how we communicate. Because as soon, like they say, as soon as you're pointing your finger, there's one finger pointing at that person and there's three fingers pointing back at you. You know, as soon as you say you want to point the finger and say that person is not stable, usually it's because you're not stable. And when you can really grasp that accountability part of it, you can so give humility. I mean, I went from like lashing my tongue in my relationship of 30 years, coming to a place where I can just walk away. It doesn't even bother me anymore. Like, now, where I feel like I still have to work on is I am about empowering people. So when I feel like someone disempowers someone else, I do truly get triggered, right? Because I said it's not fair for that person, for you to be, you know, it's almost like that he said, she said, right? It's like that game, and we're always going to be in this game. It's this experience that the universe is having through us. And that's why I feel like we're all given these certain little modalities. We're given these certain little aspects. We're given all of this to play chess. And I feel like when you have that game, that formula down, you're going to be able to be unstoppable. And I think where, you know, what I've noticed a lot with, especially with people charging in this industry of health and wellness, people don't want to charge what their value is. And that is part of trusting the process and really understanding that we cannot have an imbalance of receiving and giving. It has to be a balance. And if I said, oh, it's only $10 and they're getting like a $200 value of it, you're still breaking that flow. And it causes that scarcity that you create within yourself. So it is going to say you're not worthy of the money, right? You're not going to be worthy. So you're going to disconnect that from what you're trying to mirror out in the universe. If you're mirroring you're only worth $10, that's all you're going to ever get back. You know, it really comes back to where my services do have value. They do have worth. And then you are going to get that in between. And another thing in this, you know, a beautiful thing that's in this chart, there's an aspect called Zion, which is the 7 energy. It's all about healing our hearts. And a lot of us, you know, want to be the healer, but we can't really heal till we heal our own hearts. And what happens is once you heal that heart, you become that networker, you become that like-minded person where all these people that have that same interest, you start to magnetically bring these people to you. That's what I'm saying. It's like we are this magnet. We are this like part of us that we just don't. So we're literally like, before knowing this, I've had multiple psychic readings. I've had charts read. I've had my astrology chart. But I'm telling you, once I knew what my signature blueprint was, it was just such a no-brainer, because I know, even like right now, I can talk forever. Like, people are like, you must like to hear yourself talk. I actually kind of do, because I was never able to really speak my piece. I was never able to speak to a place where I felt like I was worthy of talking. I was always the shy kid. I was always the one that, you know, turtled in. I didn't want to raise my hand. I always got the, you know, gurgly stomach before, you know, I had to be asked a question. But when I start to work through these aspects, it just opened up such a world that I didn't even know existed. It's almost like once you take that suppression off, you're allowed to bring in these gifts. And that's what transmutes all the other aspects so you can come into your purpose. So if you would love a reading, Soma, I would love to just glancely go over your chart, not super in depth, but enough to just get the aspects of it to say, yeah, I am a teacher of teacher, you know, and that could be a thing where you're not, your soul is really seeking that teacher energy. And because you're not out there teaching, this other aspects are going to start to surface. And you might start getting to that place of like, you know, you're getting agitated, or you're starting to get really that fire lit under you. Like, I want to go. but you're holding back because you feel like, hey, people aren't going to come, right? Like I'm not ready yet, or I'm not here yet, or I'm not. So when you come to that place and just accept it, it's like, it's like, I don't even know how to say it. It's such a, like a place where there's just no friction. It's just such a free flowing energy that your mind goes from like major monkey mind of like what bills I have to pay, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I said this to someone, so I should really call them and apologize, to a place of just nothingness. It's like you're in the void of just, now there is always a con to it too, right?
Let
Where,
me just say, I would love to get a reading with you, and maybe we can do an exchange.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. But it's like I said, it's such a thing where now, even for me, where now I've turned my monkey mind into like absolutely nothing. Like I can go into the void and not even remember what happened yesterday. So there is the piece of where we have to cut wood and carry water because we are on this planet, right? That has responsibilities. You know, I mean, it can bring you into a place of, you know, your healing could go into a Tibetan monk level, but you still have to do this, you know, the duties of what we have to do here. So, you know, it's such a spectrum that you have to just really find out where you are on that spectrum. And it is comes from that balance and that stability is like the number one energy, the first energy in even the Hebrew language, which is Aleph. It's all about stability. It's all about coming into you as this oneness and then going through all the other aspects and then coming through that completion of transformation and bringing in that soul, body, and mind into one unit, like the one Trinity. So that's kind of how it, you know, works.
There's a couple of things that's coming to me as you're speaking, and one of them is that I'm so behind and I've got such a backlog of work, and it's not even paid readings. It's just a backlog of messages and emails and on my to-do list. So, and with that, there's also Emily and Christy that I've still to kind of tick boxes and stuff to do with, that is kind of months behind. So I'm going to clear a lot of that up in 2026. So, and also for people listening, if you've emailed me or messaged me or have questions, or, you know, if you're waiting on hearing back from me, I will be doing my best to get through all that stuff in 2026 and kind of I feel like I'm clearing up a lot of my own energy and yeah.
Yeah. And see, there's another energy in there too called Va, which is the sixth energy, which is all that connection of creativity through source. So you can get all this information, like, and you get all these goodies and you're just like, oh my God, I got all these goodies now. Which one do I start with? And then you're like, no, I want to go to this one. And what happens is that those thoughts can turn into intrusive thoughts. And it comes into the place of where we start to look at everything and like, oh my God, I can't finish all these projects. So then we start to create anxiety or we create escapism to get away from what our thoughts are. And when we can be in the flow of understanding, like, okay, I got 5 great thoughts. I got 5 great projects here. You really have to think with your soul and your heart, which one is the most important one, and complete it and take those steps. And it's like almost like taking one step up at a time. And it's that same energy that it's almost like a convertible knot. When you see it, it's like you get all these thoughts and then you want to manifest it. But what happens, it gets knotted up and these thoughts tend to just fester here versus manifesting. So you can create your own blockages. My son has that energy and he is young, right?
That's exactly what
where
I'm kind of doing at the moment.
Yeah. And when you know you have that energy, like he does, he gets his stuff in sleep. So he wakes up in the morning, wants to grab a guitar and start playing. And he's found a way where he hits it right away versus letting things fester and now has 5 different things that he has to attack, you know, like Otherwise, he feels overwhelmed or he feels like he's not doing enough. And then he starts to have that negative self-talk. But when we can really have a process and say, okay, this is the signature of my soul and what really means the most to me, and knowing those 7 aspects versus the 20 million that we think what society expects of us, and you really homer on just those 7, it makes like the flow so easy. I don't even know how to say it. Like I've done my husband's chart. I've done couples where people have overlays, you know, like say, for instance, like you and I were in a relationship, but we just kept triggering each other in this one, say, like our expression, like say when we're out at a party and we're trying to talk among people and we're getting frustrated and having anxiety. And a lot of it is it's our expression. We could be on that spectrum different. Now, for me, where I'm healed, that doesn't bother me so much, no. But the younger version of me, oh my God, I would storm out of the room because I felt I wasn't being heard, right? And he wanted to express the way he wanted to express. But then when we found out we had a thing called a clash, right? Where we clashed, now we know our trigger, the root of it. I know that I'm at a place where I back down, and it's not even me. When I say back down, it's not even being like, oh, I'm unworthy, I can't be in it. It's me just taking the higher level, my higher self coming in, saying he's the one that has to have this experience, not me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look in relationships, you know, people are always like, my God, there was so much fireworks, everything was so beautiful. And then, you know, fast forward 5 years, they're bickering about trust. They're bickering about, you know, just things out of the blue. And it's like, why didn't we have these problems in the beginning? Because when you start to think of all the laws of the universe start to set in, right? The cause and effect, you know, reciprocity. I mean, things start to kind of play. We have to play the game of the laws. And a lot of us aren't playing that. So it just causes such a miserable time in our life that we tend to would rather just sit into more of the mental illness of carry the emotional baggage. So, you know, not to go too deep into it, but I feel like it's and the beautiful thing about this, you can look it up too. It's called Soul Contract Decoded. My stuff is a little deeper because I can go into more of the axes and into the astrology and pull even like an on past life issue that you carried into this life. And it can bring up, especially couples. And I've done it as my family. And if you really want to, you know, I'll end it with this. So my husband is the trigger. He came into our relationship in this soul tribe to trigger me, my sons, and himself. So he's not broken. He's not behind. He is here to light us up into working through this stuff in this lifetime. I'm the bridge. I'm the one that came to the place of healing to bridge it. My oldest son, so amazing. He's to rebuild the masculine, the new masculine for the new earth. And my other son is to build the emotional part of it, which is so beautiful. But I understood that. Mm-hmm.
Can I just say, which one is very balanced with the male and female?
That's my oldest.
Okay.
He's the musician, yeah. And he comes in, he's here to create a new expression of the masculinity in both family lines. And then my youngest is the emotional. He's the intuitive. He's the one that wants everyone to have that balance of overall being heard, everything. So when my husband was able to see this, now granted, he's done ayahuasca, so he has went and done some plant medicine to really break through some of those really hardened walls that he was fighting against, which was 3 years ago. When he read that, he said, I accept this. Like, I accept I am here to trigger. I am not broken. I'm here to work through my aspects. You know, we're here to create these 2 children that are like little indigo children. I mean, like, if you understand when it comes to the Starseed children, my kids' plans, their birth charts are like spot on exactly what they're supposed to do. And, you know, when you see, now granted, I look at my sister and her 2 kids, they are young. I mean, they're 9 and 12, and they are giving her the run for their money, and they have been since they could walk. And I look at their charts, and they're intense. They are here to surface stuff like, who am I? They are here to build heavy structure and rebuild past, you know, their dysfunction of my sister and her husband. I mean, it's when you look at each little, I don't even want to call it a label because it's just an imprint that is imprinted in our DNA from God in this energy. It is just like, so now when I walk around, I can tell like someone has to carry this energy because you can just start to see it in characteristics like blonde hair, blue eyes, right? And then we have portals that are along with these energies, like Aleph carries through the crown of air, and if you're familiar with harmony cycle, we have the Shin, which is 21, which is fire, and then Mem, which is the water, and the wisdom, which is the cool. So when we bring this water through our crown, it comes down to it comes hot. It comes through very hot through the Shin, and then it comes up through the Mem to cool. And when you do these breathing cycles, which is the breath of God, and that's why breath work is so important, right? It brings up that DMT. If you really do that heavy gut breathing up, and it's almost like resuscitating for someone that like had a heart attack, or you're bringing up that DMT in the body. It's called the harmony cycle. And when we do this, it cools off. That's why they say you're such a hothead, right? Because they might have too much Shin energy in their head. And what Shin energy is, they create challenges, they create hardship. And that's the only way they get bored. So they have to create challenges. You're like, why does that person always have hardships? Because they're so bored that their soul has to create this to work through these aspects. So when you really start to look at everybody, it's just like, it's so amazing. But like I said, I truly believe in this work, and I've done like the 72 names of God and work with the Aleph, to Tau. And have you ever heard of 72 names of God?
No.
So it's a little sheet. It's a little sheet like this, and so you can actually go to time travel, like for this here. If you look right here, I don't know if that shows up, but it's actually, so when you glance at it, and you always go from right to left. So it's actually called Va Heva. And when we go through at night, that is the energy that brings us back through the day or you can even go back even further and bring that stuff up to, they're like, because time is linear, right? We actually are in a timeless experience. We just don't know it, because the time of Saturn, the keeper, it keeps us in this karmic cycle. But we can actually, and when I've learned these 72 names of God, I use these all the time. I use the water when I'm showering. I bring in the purification. There's one dialing God that when I want to speak directly to God. And a lot of times I ask the angels if I can speak directly through dialing God with these. And it's like, you feel so heard. It's like, it's so amazing. But, like I said, when you find what works for you and like what's working for you and what's working for Christy, right? It's like, when you feel that compassion and it's just turning that GPS on. And that's ultimately what we're here to do, right? Is build a beacon and then just come from a higher perspective and shine this out to everybody that wants to hear it, I guess. And
there's so much information that we're just learning now, like everything you've said, and that's not even that's only a tiny part of it. Like there's music, there's sounds, there's healing, there's color, there's astrology, there's our history, it's just so much information that is kind of that is hidden unless we start really researching stuff, and then we find other stuff that is true as well. Like Tartaria has been a big thing over the since 2019, especially with Sasha Stone. He's done a lot of revealed a lot of stuff about Tartaria, and so there's so much. Even that within itself feels overwhelming, and that's also tied into the ascension process and how we're moving forward rapidly in lightning speed.
We are really going fast. It is, even with my 21-year-old, he, this is amazing. Like, since he was like 5, he could, like, you could ask him any movie, like Red Skeleton. He'd be like, oh, he's a comedian and his movies are from like this year. Or, like, he can tell you everything. Like, they're Dirty Birth. It's mind boggling. Okay. Now fast forward to now, he's studying the Vedic astrology part of these characters that these people play in movies, right? Like the Draculas, the villains, the good girl, the charmer. And it's like he has like seen that their astrology part of it and how it fits into the movie itself. I have no problem, and I might sound crazy, but these actors clearly, the casting directors, they are picking these people for these roles because he's done like so much research in like their date of birth, in their astrology charts, even to the periodic table, that like the elements that are carried in it, that these people are put into these movies. And he even said like the movies that you're just like, oh my God, that is just a really tough movie to watch, that they probably weren't the part for that movie. You know what I mean? It was like something probably under budget in the sense of where, they just kind of gathered everyone together. So he's not just doing this for A-listers, he's doing it from B-list movies. But he, like every day, he's like just blowing my mind. Like we are all a character and we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. But a lot of us have this antenna, right? It's our spine. I think that we are being drawn to what we are, like with Christy, with what Christy does, and what Emily does, and what you're doing, and what Mira's doing. We are being drawn to what we are magnetically bringing, and that's what I feel like I got so much validation when I looked at my chart. Like, I'm not supposed to be a business owner. As much as I was chasing it, I just am not to be a business owner. It's not in my chart. It's not in my overlay name. It's not in my nickname, right? I don't have that business energy. I don't have that very deep, we're all creative because we are, like I said, we carry that, but in the sense of the business aspect. Now you look at my husband, he's got 4 vibrations of business and he's an entrepreneur. So when you start to dissect what everyone's doing, even the friend that he was going to bring in as a business partner, I'm like, let's look at his chart. He's all about expansion, but he can't stay stable enough to even launch anything that he's learning. He just wants to learn, but do nothing with it. He just wants to expand. That's all he wants to do. He wants to get burnt out. And he's good at saying, oh, yep, I'll help you with this. And then 4 months later, he hasn't even lifted a finger, but that's in his chart, right? He's all about, he could write a book because he could put all that knowledge that he's expanding into a book. So usually people with that energy of Lamb and Gimel, they carry that book writer energy. They're like the teachers of teachers or master energies. They're the ones that want to put it on paper, put it in a movie, put it in a documentary. So it's really interesting when you start to say, oh my God, like, believe me, we've done Princess Diana, we've done like Michael Jackson, we've done all these like divorce, there was Johnny Depp and his wife. We did all these charts and it just shows exactly where the things go upside down and where it's just, they get into their own humanness and they don't want it's humanity. They do not want to learn and heal and move forward. They'd rather just fight and be heard.
And what you're saying is really important, and it's to do with with humanity's consciousness, because we don't want to face our own selves, but we have to. We've got to the point where we can't continue with humanity can't continue with what we've always done. We have to. We're at an evolutionary period where we have to move forward and we have to face our stuff, however challenging and difficult that is. And what you're saying is huge. It's an aspect of the consciousness evolution.
Yeah, I almost feel like I'm the shrimp on the bottom of the ocean, always making the water murky, right? I'm the one that's down here saying, like, let's get it all murky. Let's shake it up. Let's see what we have to fix. What we have to, it's not even fixing, it's just correcting what we're here to uncorrect, right? And it's like, I'm that one. And it's like, and then there's people like you guys that are like, let's settle the waters, right? And get that clarity and bring in that, that information, right? From that higher perspective. And that's what I'm saying.
Also, Melissa, I very much did that with my family. I kind of shook the waters, and I think a lot of starseeds are born into families when starseeds are born into dysfunctional families, they have that energy of
Mhm.
of coming in to clear the family lineage
Mhm.
and muddying the waters and being the black sheep.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like too, like where we place ourselves in, even like if you have siblings, like for me, I had 3 older brothers. There was 6 years between my youngest brother and me. And then my sister was born, which was 6 years later. So I was almost like built into this bridge. When I read that in my unpast life, that I'm a bridge, I'm a sage. I was that connection between the two. So when you really look at like even where your birth, like where you are in your siblings, right? It's like, why is everyone like, oh, why is Melissa so stable? Why is Melissa like seem like nothing's wrong, right? But it's like, especially when you have that 9 energy, that one that you said, that warrior energy, like at a young age, like you start to see like what friends are doing. You can see the right and the wrong. You don't want to follow. You want to create your own journey. These are it's like the dragon. They have to rise from the phoenix, and they will, from all the stuff that hurt them, right? Or what they've seen or experienced. And and it's like paving that, it's like fire blowing the path away, I guess. And and we're gonna, and a lot of people don't like dragons, right? They're scary. They don't wanna, and unfortunately, my mom had that coming in. She's got not the 9s, and that was her physical karma. She came in with that energy, and she's 80 now, and I can see where she was able to not really face that, and she became the people pleaser, which is the negative aspect of the 9s, that test energy. And we become a people pleaser, it becomes so embedded in you, you start to like not feel worthy, right? You feel like only your worth is good if you do people please or agree or ask for someone else's advice, like, why are you so indecisive all the time? Now I know why she is, because she doesn't trust her own, compass. And she's always let others, run that show from her because she's always wanted to keep the peace. So yeah, it's good. It's fun. Like I said, you just got to shoot me your birth name, and we can just hit up on Zoom. And
yeah, my birth, I'll give you a heads up. My birth name is Carol Ann Noonan, which is Noonan. It's the Irish spelling. And he actually wasn't my father, but my mum was married to him at the time, so she put his name on my birth certificate. But I do have, and he was Irish. He had Irish parents, but my real father was German. So I have a my real surname is not even on my birth certificate, which is interesting.
That's how it works. That's what I'm saying. Like, even for me, this is interesting that you said that, because even me, my middle name is named after my great grandmother, and it's not even spelt the right way. My mom is like, oh my God, I spelt the name wrong on your birth name, on your birth chart. And I said, oh, that's so interesting. So I said, hey, let's go, let me just pull up that soul chart, right? With her name, if that was to be my name, and it didn't even match with me. It was so like, I didn't even resonate with the energies that were in there, because, and when you can actually see like who you thought you were supposed to be, and you don't even fit that. So your birth name, like you came in being who you're supposed to be, like that was who you are. And like, even we could even compare the two, and you can even see which one you resonate with. And that's what is so bizarre, because we're conditioned. Everyone says, oh, it resonates with you because and I do get people that are skeptical. They're like, well, I feel that too. Well, yes, we are that image of God. We came through that humanity of the tree of knowledge through Adam and Eve. So yes, we are 22 vibrations of God, but we only have the 7 dominant aspects. Like, we are all human, but you have blonde hair and I have like a beige hair, right? You have brown eyes, I have blue eyes. So we have different aspects, but we're still technically human. So that's where I think people are like, and we are conditioned, because I have mom and dad and siblings that had different energies that we have very similarity, because the generational cycle will carry, the vibration will carry in the charts because of the names. So I can see through someone else saying, yeah, because I carry that energy, or I've even had a parent that had that energy, I can relate to it, if that makes sense. But it doesn't mean anything to me, or I don't trip over the rug, you know what I mean? Like she would, when something comes up.
So, and just to add to that, a couple of things. So I also have several other names, which is really interesting. Like I have a Buddhist name, I've my married name, I have other names, but anyway, I know Christy has a question, but please let's take a break, an actual coffee break.
That's okay.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone. Emily, you're up next. You have a question. We were taking a good break there, so welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, I was. My question probably goes back about about 40 minutes ago. You were talking about doing a chart based on the birth name, and I just wanted to say two things. There's, in one aspect, I never felt good about my my birth family name because of the father that was, that it was representative of, and what he was to me. And on the other aspect,
I'm sorry, Emily. Please say that again. I was
okay.
reading the chat. I'm sorry.
Okay. My birth family name is a name that I would say I don't relate to. I did what the Native Indians do when they don't feel like they identify with their name, and I changed my name later. I was first made to change my name to my stepfather's name, which I also didn't identify with, and then I took my my would-be husband's name. They never married me, hilariously, but I took his name finally. So, like, the third family name that came my way, I liked better than the first two. And so that's my question. I'm getting to in a second. My other aspect is that my astrological chart, and this would be Western astrology. I don't know if the birth time is off. But in many ways, I haven't identified with that very well either. I know somebody who tried to rectify the birth time, and it's very odd. I mean, because it's not like it was the chart is incorrect per se. It just doesn't feel like it reflects me, the life that I expected to have. And so I wondered about doing, like, if I were to do a reading with you and using my birth name, how would you justify that gap between, or maybe would the numbers somehow align better with my persona, my character, than necessarily the name itself and who it represents? I don't have to ask that clearly.
That's good. It is, because a lot of people have said that, like, a lot of people have changed their name because they feel like, right, it was just something that just didn't resonate with them. But ultimately, the soul came in with that birth name to be placed on, because we've had people too that have been put up for adoption and they don't even have their birth chart. And, the hardship starts right there, right? And then when we look at the name that was given to them, which would be considered more of an overlay, because it's like the icing on the cake without the cake. So it's almost like there's a void. But when we go through it, they do feel empty. They do, in a way, say, no, I resonate with that, but I feel like there's still the meat is missing of what, was given. And when we can go back to people that have seeked out, they've went through and tried to find their actual birth parents and have come back, and we're able to really look at that name that was given to them. Because even for my son, when my kids were born, it's so prominent to have a middle name here in the States. My husband and I were going back and forth, and I just said, no, it just doesn't resonate with me. I want this name. This is what's coming to me. And even I still get asked with my one son, you know, we have no Matthews in our family. And Matthew was just so strong to be put into his middle name, my youngest son. And when I read his name, it is just him. I mean, it's when I look at him, now granted, he's 18. He has come from a mother that's very conscious in a way, but he still has static, right? The stuff that triggers him on gaming online through friends and, you know, father, mother. I mean, we're not perfect, even though, you know, we want to say, oh, we're raising our children consciously, but we all make mistakes and our perspectives are always going to be different. And, you know, even my older had piped in like, you guys are both crazy, you know, even though he's fully conscious himself. But like I said, how our perspective and how our energies come through this life to experience it, it's going to be so different for everybody. But I think it would be good to pull your name from your birth name, look at it, let it resonate with you. And then the name that you changed it to, do it as an overlay, how that resonates with you, and then how it has infused the two together, because they will have gateways between locks and karma, challenges, clashes, harmony. They're streamlined together. I was pulling up my chart. Did you see that, Carol, my chart when I pulled it up? Let me just pull it up real quick. I'll just pull up my, let's see. I'm going to close that. Let me just pull. This is what a chart will look like. Can you see that? Is it big enough?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
Yep.
So
just keep it on the screen for a bit.
Okay. So my big thing is I was out when I started asking questions on my healing journey. I had a teacher, and it always resonates with me because it's such a foundation that I have created to be large. I mean, we have to have a foundation, and that's ultimately like a spiritual foundation. Like we need something that is outside of us that can plant those seeds, and we know that it's going to grow, right? And things grow to the light. So like the pyramid, right? It's been how many? No one even knows how long it's been here. I mean, you know, we can guess, we can whatever, but it's such a foundation. The thing is that we come into this physical without that foundation. And that's what this upside down pyramid is. If you look at it, it's constantly being able to, like, you can just like flick it and it's going to fall over, right? And that's what I consider a trigger. It's like going through the mud, right? The mud water, like you're just one step after another. You're just like, why am I always in this mess? Why am I always part of this? Why am I blah, blah, blah. And that's just the physical experience that this ego is creating, this identity of like who Carol is, who Melissa is, who Emily is. So these aspects in here are who we are. Like for me, now that I, you know, even before I had my chart read, these fives, they're called Hey. It's a very etheric, it's the highest. It's such an emotional energy. It's very intuitive. It's very past lives. Normally, they have said it's someone that's been persecuted, maybe like a witch or a shaman, someone that was persecuted in their past life will come in with these fives. So when they come into this lifetime, they're very etheric. They're very ungrounded, if that makes sense. They're just like, ooh, I just want to be up here and I don't really want to be down here. And, you know, and that's our throat chakra. It sits into also our right foot as a gateway. So when you think of mud, it's like stuck in the mud. It doesn't want to move forward. So it's a very challenging energy to have, especially when it's in a karma or a goal position. But me having it in my talons, I always spoke my truth. I mean, I remember when I was like 12 years old and very religious neighbors, friends with their kids, and their mom would be talking, and I would say to their, like my friend Jenny, I'd say, your mom is lying to you. Like, do you not see that? So this was a gift that was given to me, but I just didn't know how to use it, right? I just would verbally say things, and then my mom would be like, please don't be telling, you know, Jenny that her mom's a liar, you know? So it's a very truth-speaking energy, very intuitive, very clairvoyant. But because I have these eights in my chart, they help me ground that energy. They're a very grounding, emotional society. It's you can see it's like an amoeba in water. We do very well in nature. Water is very like, I have lots of water. We have waterfalls in our house, or like water fountains. We have a swimming pool. We have lots of water. I mean, I sit in the shower. I don't even want to leave. It's like, oh my God, I just got to go. It's just drawn to me. But originally, I always said my God was nature. Before I even knew this, I was like, when I'm out in nature, that's when I feel connected to God. I feel like this is what it is. And when I found out I had these 8s in my chart, it totally made sense. This is a goal, is something that drives you to get out of bed, in a sense. It's like, this is what gets me out of bed. Me, I love going out gardening. I can sit and I love mowing the lawn. I love trimming trees. I just love being outside. So these are how these energies kind of interplay in our life, in this identity of Melissa. Now going to my spiritual chart, because I am 53, these came online earlier than I even knew. Now I can relate back to them, because this is also trust. The 4s are all about trust. Like, Jenny, you shouldn't trust your mom because she lies to you. Trust was a big thing to me, right? But I didn't know that it actually could be the opposite too. I was very hoarding. I didn't want to share things because I felt like if I shared something with someone, like an item, if they broke it, like I always wanted to keep things to myself. That's the 4 energy. It's all about abundance and flow. So when I start knowing these patterns, this is kind of how they inspect into this life. And ultimately, this is our shield to really hold our vessel into that expansion. And that's kind of what they say the Star of David, but it's really the shield of David. It's it's the shield that actually helps our vessel expand versus being cracked and small, which creates that darkness to come in. Even though, have you heard of the Buddha that was, I think in 1950, they were moving this Buddha in Thailand. Have you heard of that? And what happened is when they moved the Buddha, it fell and it cracked, and someone saw a shininess behind the crack. So they start chipping it away, and it's now like it was all made of gold. It was like $250 million, this Buddha. So they hid it because they didn't want people to come, right? And that's what we do, is we hide ourselves. We shield ourselves, with this shield. And when, like I said, we crack this open, and that's what the triggers are to do. They're here to be our gift, right? Our challenges are here to be our gift, to really crack this open and say, wow, I can flourish. I can trust. I know that when I share and give, I know I'm going to have that flow, and I'll have this, abundance. As soon as my cup is full, I know I can fill my other cup, and I'll have more abundance to help other people. That's kind of the 4 energy. It's all about Dalit. It's the door. It's once you go through that door, you can still look back, but really it's to step through that door and trust when you close it that you're going to be okay. And we go way deeper into this when I do a reading, but this is just kind of that aspect of, going to like what, Emily said, she's like, you got, the birth name. Like I said, my middle name was not supposed to be spelt this way. It was supposed to be Kathyhrn. How did my mom get that wrong? I have no idea, but she came in with Catherine spelled this way. But when I look at my chart, it doesn't resonate with me at all. Like the energies are completely different. It's like, so when we read your chart, and then, like I said, with Emily bringing in the name that she wanted to change it to, and like Soma, you said you have all these other names. The big thing with names, even on like our address where we live, everything has a vibration, right? Like my address, because I'm a level 3 practitioner when it comes to this numerology. So when I decode even like business names, websites, things like that, like the names you're putting on social media, what you're drawing with that name being out there can be so critical, right? If I put hardship in my social media name, someone's going to feel that hardship when they see that or speak it, right? Like if they read my chart, I say, unlock your codex, and it has a challenge, like a shin energy in there. They're going to be like, yeah, probably not going to want to, I don't relate to that, if that makes sense. and we've done study, like my home that I live in now, it has that 13-4 energy, which is the mem in the Dalit. It's trusting, it's love, it's wisdom. And I have to say, we've been here 6 years, and I can feel such a shift when you really think of the places that you've lived and how you have a different feeling around that environment. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, my house does not like other people. We've had contractors, and when they feel, and this is no joke, I have even had a person, and we've had some serious, like the 6 years we've had this house, we've had a window fly out of our house, smash down, shatter in our pool. We had electrical situation where we had electricians. The glass shattered, and the guy that was doing the windows, he said, your house, it's built on an Indian burial ground. There's something not right with your house. And all these things I've had where contractors had said, hey, this is how much it is. They do the job. It's not done right. They have to come back. And because, it's their error. I'm like, you just had me pay all this money. Now you want me to pay more money to do more stuff? No, that's your problem. I'm sorry. I thought I hired someone that knew that what they're doing. Now, granted, if you said this could be, you're the one pitching me saying, hey, come to my company. We've had a job where it's supposed to be 4 days. It ended up being 4 weeks. So we've had all this house. And I feel like this house is in a way of like, we love this house. We can feel the love, but other people just don't feel it. Now they can come in my home and say, oh my God, it's so peaceful. It is, I can feel it. But when it comes to someone coming wanting something from us, it's like my house responds to that. It's very interesting, but I can see it now, right? I ran my address and I'm like, it's all about that energy that it's carrying. So when we identify something with the name, it's a specific thing we are to work through to get to that ultimate next level. And like I said, many people like yourselves, you'll probably be just like, this is more validation. I already can resonate with this because same thing with me. Right away, I was like, I can resonate with that. I just didn't know I just thought that was something that was, random, right? Like something that was just circumstantial. I didn't know it was something that I was constantly coming up to, like neck and neck, or, head to head. But when I did, and I worked through it, so life-changing. So I don't know if that makes sense, Emily.
Yeah, of course, Melissa. Thank you so much for saying all that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I'm proficient enough where I love this. I could talk, all day about this because I'm so passionate about it because I see it as like our names, like if that makes sense. Like for my mom, she's 80, and now does she want to identify with maybe what her triggers are? No, because she suppressed them so long that even now, even saying, wow, how she goes about it, she just goes, well, I raised you guys right, didn't I? Versus even taking responsibility. Like, well, God, yeah, I lashed out at you guys because I was so frustrated. She can't even like talk to her weaknesses. So that's kind of how this comes up.
Tonight has been really fascinating. Someone asked a question in the chat that would you be able to answer it, Melissa? So they were asking, Christy was asking, does the soul give the name to the mother before pregnancy?
Yes, actually, the
Before
soul
birth, before birth.
It does.
During pregnancy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Even before, a lot of times people have had that inclination, like, oh, I needed to name, if I had a daughter, I am going to name her Alicia, or I'm going to name her Heather, or I'm going to name my son, Joseph. People already are given this through that experience. Even, husbands can have the thing. It's not so much just the wives, or the mother, or the father. It's the fathers too that can come into this collaboration of naming it. It's when it really feels right is when that soul then comes through, right? And because a lot of times people even say, I want to wait to name the baby till I see the baby, right? Which has happened too, where they're like, and then a name just comes out and they're like, where'd you get that from, right? So all of this has been divinely planned for us, even when it comes to our names, when it comes to our parents, the unresolved issues from past life experience together, like Christy was saying, his daughter could have been his mother. I truly believe in that. I also, when I do a full reading, I go into a past life. When I do an overlay for a family, I will bring in a past life experience, and it will show the dynamic of how it intertwines, and it really opens up what's happening now. Like, for instance, I have a couple that I'm going to be doing later today, like working on their charts, and then I'll read it to them in the week. And they're having a dynamic now where they're just not 100% like if they should go forward or not. But I think by doing this past life reading and unlocking this codex, right? It's like opening the scroll of their life. It's not even like dipping into the Akashi records. It's like, it's like at the soul level. And I feel like that's where I resonate. I just always knew that, like, I had to be like a translator of the soul, if that makes sense. I don't know how or know why, but when I'm in church or someone is very, I can just feel it in my soul. Like it just like pushes out to me, like you need to tell them, or it's like it comes from here, like where my vessel is. So, after fast forward and learning Kabbalah, it's like when I was told in my past life, my own reading that I did, I was a sage. And it only makes sense that sages were the ones that read through the Torah or corrected, the things that we needed to do to fix our tikkun in this experience. So we don't have to, when we do go through that life review or bardo, right? When we do have that opportunity to face the things that we did to ourselves or to others, I feel like I'll be at peace, in that sense of going through that. Yeah, all that stuff. Like it's interesting, like how you can just start to get that channeling of that information. And when it resonates with you and you don't feel like an imposter, right? That's, I think, the biggest thing of breaking through that veil. It's that imposter veil, right? It's like once you step into that saying, because I get a lot of people, they just feel like, I feel like an imposter. I can't, charge for my fees because I feel like people think I'm just winging it, or and I'm like, well, are you just winging it, right? Do you feel proficient? You need anything. Like we have to be proficient in moving forward, especially when we're directing people that are asking to be directed, right? I mean, I would not want to walk someone, like the ship is sinking and I don't know how to use the lifeboats. I'm not going to pretend to know, right? I mean, we have done things on the spot and sometimes we're directed, right? But would I feel comfortable? That's kind of how, you got to look at things is like, and I don't think any of us are imposters. I think if anything, it's just where our level is of moving forward with how we feel proficient or not. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, Christy, did you ever feel like an imposter in the beginning? Like, have you had that experience? Like,
I think when I reflect back, I felt so much that I couldn't understand. I knew I wasn't from here and I didn't want to stay here. I wanted to go back, but I didn't know where back was. So I played with that idea in my world as a child growing up. Like I knew emotionally, the emotions were too intense. I found it really difficult to navigate through this realm, mainly as a child. So I isolated myself from this reality and from myself, and I chose to take that path because I didn't understand really what was happening. It was too difficult for me, as I say, so, but I developed very, very quick. I developed really tools of life as regards to how to navigate through what we call 3D. And I would have been very streetwise. I would have sort of rolled in that sort of reality, and sort of played in that sort of aspect of really what I see on the day-to-day basis, like playing out for me as we speak, So, but as I got a bit older, I was sort of drawn more to what we call some people call it awakening, some people call it spirituality, and there was something within me that was always. I'm sort of, my background is in psychology, so I always go to the next level. If I'm working with someone, even though they're not verbalizing anything to me, I'm dissecting them. I'm dissecting my interaction with them. It's like, as I say, people a lot of the time they'll give you the wrapper, they won't give you the chocolate, the sort of way, and that's okay. That's their experience. But for me, I was very cautious. I was very sort of when I say cautious, yeah, I was very, very cautious. I was very, very respectful of people outside of me. The sort of, if someone came into my life, for various reasons, like if it was relationships, friendship, or I was very cautious as to how I mothered that relationship very carefully, the sort of way, not to break boundaries or not to hurt people emotionally. But a lot of the time I got hurt, which was strange in a way because I could read where they were going, and I was sort of quite sort of defensive to that, and I would have rolled with it. As I've always said, I never closed the door on anybody or anything. I allow it to sort of grow to a point where the individual will understand really what is actually at the happening, but in that process, I allowed myself to get hurt, continued to allow myself to get hurt, continued to allow myself to get hurt. But in all that, I wasn't aware as to what was happening with my star family, the sort of way, as regards to even, excuse me, being part of the hybrid. Are we on record? Oh, it is, yeah. So, yeah, there's some things I will say and some things I won't. So, there was a lot going on with my star family as regards to DNA manipulation and things like that. So everyone wanted to slice really, and that was okay. So I went to different realms, and there was hybrid children involved and all that. So it wasn't sort of until I was ready. That was an interesting point that was put to me. Oh, this is 2025, say 15 years ago. It was a question put to me by Renturis. And it was, are you ready? The sort of way, do you feel that you're ready? And I went, what? Am I ready? Ready for what? And again, he discussed really contracts that were put in place at a soul level before I took the container, before I came in, and even the introduction to Renturis, it was really interesting because when I met him first, his name was Kin, Kin, and he gave me that name, and it's on my bracelet here, and Kin. So had this relationship with this being called Kin in another realm, and I thought this is amazing, it's sort of having an extraterrestrial friend. I thought it was wow, this is great. I was really engrossed in that, and as I say that, I had the relationship with the horse also, that sort of way, I kept horses in this life, and I had a connection to horses in previous lives, which is another story, and so my relationship with the horse was amazing, the sort of way. And then the extraterrestrial being came into my life as Kin, but slowly over time they realized, or he revealed really his true identity and what his connection to me was only when I was ready, that sort of way, because as you know, he will only give you emotionally what you're able to handle, because they're aware really that this is just my opinion, a lot of us are fractured in this reality, for various reasons, and you touched on that earlier on, when you speak about the healing within, and I personally feel that that's important for me to verbalize, because we've all done a number on ourselves in some shape or form, that sort of way, for various reasons, and that happens because of our interactions with something outside of ourselves, and that continued to play out, but when Kin came in and Kin then revealed really who Kin was as Renturis Voluntrius and broke the ice and said, listen, it's now time that we'll give you this information. And before he came in, there was loads of other races involved, many other races that I was connecting with through different channels, regarding really the Octarians, the Pleiadians. There was various different races that I played with down through the years, so, but he did point something out to me, and when he asked that question, and that was, when are you ready? And my response was, yeah, of course I'm ready. So that's okay. Now we're going to rebuild you. Now I thought that was interesting, and that still comes back to me, like, we're going to rebuild you, like, and I was, what do you mean by that? Well, these we're going to play with the software, like in a joking way, like,
Wow.
and that gave me some insight as to really. There was another door opening in my mind, like, as regards to, okay, they're going to rebuild me. How's that going to play out, like, so it continues to evolve on many different levels, like, not just the beings that are coming to me, the beings that are allowing me to photograph them. Yeshua being one of them, like, which I find really interesting, like, so the whole soul situation with me in this reality, I find really interesting, like, not just because of my situation that I explained earlier on, but because of really trying to break it down and understand the creation of the soul, like, the sort of way. I'm not looking for a start or a finish. I'm trying to understand really the whole idea of that reality, like, and how it plays out, like, as to me having now this human experience. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I think of when you were saying that, what came to me was like the universe when we fractaled into all these souls, because we all are one soul originally, that it's like the puzzle because the universe is having this experience through us. And it's like we technically can't be placed in that puzzle till we're actually at that place of healing. So that's why the puzzle is going to be not completed, right? It's like you'll see like a gigantic puzzle and there's like, the corners are done and the side is done and there's maybe a little in the middle that are together. But it's almost like the universe is like when, if Adam and Eve, went from the tree of knowledge and said, now you're going to go and create this thing called humanity. That's what the Big Bang was, right? And it just blew that big puzzle into pieces. And now we're each that puzzle piece trying to come back to say, are we, worthy enough to even be placed in that puzzle with the universe? And we are, that's the thing. But it's like so many of us say we're not worthy. So the puzzle is going to constantly be unfinished, right? It's going to be incomplete and it will get there at some point. You're right. But it's like, the thing is that, we're here, they say like, between Adam and Eve, they were supposed to, I think, live together or as one like 1,000 years, but they lived to like 130 or 930 years. And then King David came through and only lived that rest of 70 years. So you wonder, right? Like, how is this all like when you think of these things we hear in the story and we try to, put that into a translation of what it really meant? It's just kind of, I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. I think it was like we were that one soul and it was like the tree of knowledge or the tree of life. And the tree of life, what I follow with Kabbalah, it's so amazing. Like I said, it's when you look at the structure and really understand where the planets lay in the structure, where does the gateways lay and what each meaning. And we stay here in Malakut, which is the earth, the foundation. We none of us get up to Daled, which is what that door is to walk through to the higher perspectives. You guys clearly are because you're we're all here for on that same path. But it's like when you think of a lot of people, hey, Dennis made it.
Yes, Dennis made it. So what I'm going to do, I know that tonight's been going on and on and on, but that's fine. So what I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna ask Dennis to do prayers in a minute and to turn his camera on, and if it's possible, and then I'm going to do another channeling. Tonight has been fantastic. Melissa, particularly Melissa, you've shared so much information. Before Dennis does the prayers, please, how can people find you? Like if they want a reading.
So I'm in the construction state right now because, like I said, I've had some things like you that I haven't been able to complete yet that I'm working on to kind of clean my slate and come into this, this new fire horse, which is the
yes, I know. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's that.
Yeah.
Like
and I am a rat.
Moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah. And I am a rat. So that is kind of my opposing, year that I'm coming into, but I don't have any I don't have any fear behind it. So I know it's going to be a good year. But so right now I'm pretty much building my website from now to February. I have I think my biggest platform right now is TikTok, where I'm just kind of, putting things out there that really resonate with me, and really about, how to get in contact with me is really much through TikTok right now.
And please friend me on TikTok or add me. And what is your TikTok?
Okay. Yeah, it's all under Unlock Your Codex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Melissa, sorry, Melissa, I don't do TikTok since I was bullied on that platform so badly.
Yeah.
What about an email address?
Yeah, you can, or even on Facebook, but I can put my email address here too. I'll put it in the chat.
I can't.
Or yeah, I can. I'll just. You're on the.
We are recording.
Okay. Is it okay if it's in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because I also wanted to share with you guys, you can actually play around. The institute that I got my practitioner training through, he offers, so you don't have to do the handwritten version of the Star David and your vibrations. You can go on to his website. I can put it in, and you get up to 4 charts. You can put in your birth name, and it will generate a chart for you. And you'll find out what your aspects are. And his name is Nicholas David Ning. He's out of the UK. He has multiple YouTube videos on there, and he has one when he released his book, which was the book that I got before I became a practitioner, because it's all about numerology. So that's why I got it. And it explains in there, and it gives a generic kind of a interpretation of each vibration. So it's good as gold. It's not, like I said, generic. It's just, it's the interpretation. But when you go through the level 2, you get an attunement. So you can come in and channel those symbols that you see in there. So that's kind of the difference between, but you can really pull up your own chart and say, oh, this is where truth lies, or where this is where power lies, or where this is where, I may not have that connection with God because I don't feel there is God, because there is that energy in there too. They have the energy of someone that wants to follow spirit or not follow spirit. And when you follow spirit, you can complete big tasks. You're a taskmaster. So it has all this stuff in it. So you could, pull your own chart too, if you'd like. Like I said, the big thing with me, I don't want to be a gatekeeper of this work. I feel like once you learn or educate yourself on it, you can spread the word themselves. It's a ripple effect, right? So, that's why with even us as practitioners, we all have our own attunement and how we have our perspective on the energy when we work with the client. So like, I know I've had someone say, oh, I've had a reading by so-and-so. And then what is going to be different if I have a reading with you? And it's just no different than, having a conversation with, someone about, like composition, right? Like how I see it on composition, or how this person sees it about composition. But it's really what resonates within your soul. So it's really trusting the process when we have, a session together. And, and it is having to surrender and be very vulnerable, because, we have suppressed so much, right? And a lot of us have really released a lot of that. So we are at a place where it's just really validation. Like, yeah, I resonate with that, but it's really saying, hey, this is something that I have to build my vessel around so I can actually hold that light and hold that connection. So I will send that to you. So yeah, I'll write that down so you can actually pull your own chart, because I know, yeah, I'm very diligent. I like to just go poke around on things. So it's called Soul Contract Reader.
Thank you so much. Okay, sorry. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. Carry on, Melissa.
Oh, no, I was going to say, so if anyone wants to pull their own chart, before we meet up, because like I said, I'll do this as a taster. I do this more as a... But
can you please read your website out again? Because I interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I haven't. I'm working on my website right now. It's still under construction. I can put it in. It won't be ready for a while.
There was a website that popped up just now. Where's that one?
So that one is the Soul Contract Reader. So
was that in the chat or?
Nope. This is this is from the institute that I had my training through. So how it all works is Frank Alpert was from Sedona, Arizona. He's the one that channeled all this information from the numerology of Moses.
Wow.
and
Okay.
put it all
And
together. Yep.
for those listening, it is soulcontractreader.com.
Yep. And so Nicholas David Ning, and there's also a guy called Blue Marsden. They're both from the UK. They both got the rights to create their own modality. Still same format. Nicholas is all about divine healing. Him and his ex-wife really built this great foundation around this. And then Blue is an NLP, a linguistic trainer. So he's also so basically a lot of people have a therapy background that bring this into their therapy to really say, I don't want to waste your money and talk about things that we may not be able to find out the root cause. Let's go right to your chart and start there. So that's kind of how it came about. So
I'm sorry, Melissa. I'm going to thank you so much for all the info.
Yeah.
But it's starting to get late here, so I would like to do another channeling. And
for sure.
Please let's continue this at another time as well. And because I know a lot of the audience will be very interested in what you're sharing. But Dennis, if you would like to say hello and introduce yourself and then do the prayers, and can you please put your camera on as well? And then I'll go into a channeling.
Oh.
Hello.
And we are recording, Mr. Mulcahy.
Fine. All right. Hello all. And so I will say some short and simple prayers. And as I say them, you are, of course, invited to join with your own hearts. The first is a prayer called the Law of One. And I will say it and repeat it 2 more times. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. And I will also share an I am mantra or affirmation shared by the Galactic Federation to Blossom Goodchild. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. There you go. Thank you very much.
So welcome back, everyone. Thank you. We were just now we were showing Soma the 6 months, which we have mentioned recently quite often. June this year, new discoveries, huge discoveries that lay beneath the earth. We want to go to North America. We want to go to ancient native land, which is all of America. What we mean when we say we want to go to ancient native land, it is to do with discoveries that lay beneath the earth that will be found in 2026. So, and in June, but June has many reasons for us, many reasons for us mentioning June 2026, but there are predominantly 2, 3, 4, 7 or 8 reasons that we're mentioning this as a prediction. It is a huge portal of energy energy flooding into your earth, so intense that it will continue into the 7th month of July. Even August, even into August, but it will become less intense in August. We're sharing an image that is not so nice. Soma doesn't like those choice of words. But we're showing Soma an image of people, homeless people in tents, Tents, that will have to be gathered or moved indoors into large indoor spaces that look to Soma like large, what is that word? Shared is the wrong word, but large spaces because of either weather problems or disruptions, or land problems or disruptions. If it's not the land, it's the weather. But and we're not really sharing which country this is, but there are changes coming. The animals too will be affected and will need to be looked after. So it is either, Soma is thinking it must be, and we are saying it will either be land or weather changes, or a combination of the two. We have so much to share with you of your past, of your present, of your future. So much galactic history to share, to unfold, to come, about who you are, why you're here, where you're from, and the veil of amnesia that you are in, and that you have been in but are coming out of now. The veil of amnesia is being lifted and you are starting to remember who you are, where you're from, why you're here, and your missions and your roots, galactic roots, your soul's mission, remembrance, your journey, and give reverence for the relationships that you are in. Give acknowledgement, give gratitude, give love, give honesty. Give reverence, give significance. And we are speaking to all, listening now and in the future. Oh. For those listening now and in the future that have been challenged in this lifetime, we take we take our hat off to you. We give you acknowledgement. We give you reverence. We give you a gift of a more peaceful years ahead, a more peaceful time, an easier time, a clearer path. You have done good work. You have done good work in clearing lifetimes of accumulation of energies and stuff. There is a day of reckoning coming. It is not a day as you understand a day being 24 hours, but rather it is here now. It is a turning of the page, a new beginning, a new chapter. It is a clearing of the old energy, a clearing of the old guard, a clearing of the old narrative, a clearing of the old negative agendas. Stop that. Oh. You are more powerful than you know. Many of you have been born with the energy, born in with you, with the energy of the one that you know as Jesus or Yeshua. And he comes in now for protection. Not just for Soma, but for all of you that are here now and are listening in the future. The Christ consciousness is powerful energy, breaking free from chains, restrictions, helping you to wake up, helping you to remember. If you break down the word remember, and understand that words contain energy and have been used as spells upon you, and you look at the word remember, the word remember is really about reconnecting to your tribe. Reconnecting to your tribe. Oh. As the old energy falls away, many will decide to pass away for different reasons. Some are not able to, some are not able for the higher or lighter energies of Christ consciousness. Those of you that are the teachers, are the way showers, are the ones to take the hands of others and lead them into a higher state of being. Dennis. Dennis, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Familiarity is very comfortable, but it will not take you anywhere. Familiarity is very comfortable, but it will not take you anywhere. Some of you are bobbing along energetically in little boats, just drifting. Because you are not wanting to take responsibility of your direction, of your path, of your perhaps mission is too strong a word, but there it is. And we would say it's time to take charge. It's time to stop drifting. we also include Soma in this. Although so many of you do have challenges that are deliberately put in your way to take you off your path, or that is actually an impossible thing to do. You cannot be taken off your path, but you can be delayed. When walls are put in your way, you often have had to stand back and look at the wall and ask yourself, how am I going to overcome this wall, this challenge? Am I going to go around it, over it, under it, through it? Many of these walls are deliberate. But they also have a positive side to them. There are great lessons. This is something we heard Melissa saying earlier. The greatest challenges are your biggest lessons. And there is value in this, huge value. So we will leave that there for today. And we cheekily invite Dennis to speak. We say that with humor, with love. We love you.
Well, thank you very much, Soma. And thank you all who are in the group this evening, who create the space and the energy to invite the group sharing and channeling. And thank you to all those who are listening, because we are all in this together and we are creating something which is better and creating more beauty and joy in this experience of life.
Will you do from the beginning?
Yeah, you said the name, the word remember, so I thought I would pull it up and see the vibration behind it. And it had the labyrinth, which is holds deep wisdom, but we have a plug of unworthiness. Till we pull it, we can't bring that wisdom out and we can't hear it. So it affects communication, it affects our relationships, it affects just the energy of from money to, you know, anything that really can hold our worth around it. And so that's the challenge behind the word remember. And then there is the structure of it, like building your own truth of remembering, not someone else's, you know, like building what you feel is your truth and really be a builder around that word. And then also it came with creativity and also the thoughts from going around and around and around, where it can make someone really indecisive and not trust themselves or even feel God within. So it's really focusing within and being able to pause and really reflect on that creative energy that we are given through the light, from cooking to gardening to, you don't have to just be an artist to have that creativity, have that energy. It can come through, journaling, it can come through automatic writing, but it's just really having that success of fluid of having God within, and then being able to not, have that thought and being able to manifest it without having multiple thoughts. But that's the word that I came through with the word remember. So remembering God, remember you are worthy, that you have that knowledge, that we just have to pull through and be worthy of it, and then build that structure around it is kind of the platform I got for that word.
Thank you, Melissa.
What I got from it is remembering, meaning remember who you are, what you came to Earth to do. But it's also a becoming a member of the Galactic Federation, reinstate your membership into your star family, into the Star Federations. So that's how I took that. And I gotta go because my phone's about to die. But Merry Christmas, Melissa. It's so great. My TikTok is on the chat, and you guys have a good one. Love and light.
Lots of love to you.
Thank you.
You too. And I did friend you or follow you, both.
Oh, awesome, Blossom. Great.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for holding space for us too, Soma, and Dennis for sharing that prayer. It was very beautiful to remind us that we are that one soul, that we're just fractals of it, that have to come back to that one, to take out the stuff that we've been, the word I'm trying to figure out is have, the filter from all the society, and being able to come back to one. So thank you.
Tonight feels like it's been quite special.
Thank you for holding the space for that.
Well, thank you for like showing up.
Yes, thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Soma.
I kind of don't want to go yet.
Well, you can stay forever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Well, maybe see you again tomorrow. I have to start taking care of some animals here.
Okay, love. All right.
All right.
Yes.
Then. Take care. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to whomever I don't see again before the New Year's. Happy New Year. Yeah.
Yes, you too.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Dennis, don't you go anywhere.
Oh, I'm good to go. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to sign off too, so you guys can have time. I don't know. My dog's kind of getting all growly too over here. And we got winds. They're like 40 miles an hour. I'm watching my patio furniture get tipped over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just kind of, it was windy earlier, but I was like, oh, there goes the weighted table over. So, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So
I'll
I'm going to go. Yes. So reach out to me. I think I did reach out to you on Facebook, but it could get buried. Sometimes the algorithm's weird. Feel free.
Sometimes there are messages that I don't see, and I'll see them like 4 years later. And I'm like, oh my God, Facebook, come on.
Yeah, I know. You see that little one, like you got a message, but you can't find it anywhere. That's me.
Yes.
Like, where is it even at? I can't find it. But yeah, text me or DM me, and then if you want, we can just connect maybe whenever you're available. I'm pretty, like I said, I have a lot of downtime right now because I'm trying to really work through some things as well, and I love popping on. Like I said, it would be great. So, but yeah,
I'll do that.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.